Welcome to Mallet and Michelle. I'm Michelle, the spring chicken, and this is Steve, the winter turkey. Spring has sprung.
You ain't no spring chicken, Michelle.
I am.
You are not a spring chicken.
You are a winter turkey. Spring has sprung, the wildflowers are in bloom, the sun's out, and the pollen has declared war on our cars, our sidewalks, and your nose
and
is fighting
sinuses.
for its life.
Oh my gosh. I had to go get Sudafed, and I didn't realize that only crackheads buy Sudafed now. So you
had to go
get it behind the counter, and they give you the...
Did you have a urine sample to get some Sudafed?
That's right. But hey, we're going to have a great guest on today. Kylie Zschiesche is going to join us.
You did it. You did it.
Yeah,
Kylie Zschiesche.
Zschiesche.
Yeah.
Yes. So she's going to be in here in a couple minutes.
She's a community advocate for kids that are in foster care.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other story behind that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we'll get her in here in a second, but
first,
have to thank these wonderful sponsors that allow us to do this every week.
Absolutely. Mallet and Michelle podcast.
The Mallet and Michelle podcast.
For sure. Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room, where the pours are smooth, the people are cooler, and time forgets to matter.
Oh, for the pour, you're like, do you drink? And you're like, oh, hi, pours. And then you drink your food.
No.
Hi, pour.
God, you're so elitist.
You know what? When you're paying for a craft cocktail, sometimes you feel poor.
It's true.
South Star Bank.
Where relationships come first, great banking follows close behind, and you're treated like a client, not a transaction.
Go to the bank, get your money, and then go to Deep Eddy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Go get a big loan and go to Deep Eddy and get one of those craft cocktails.
Oh, yummy.
My favorite was the espresso, which I guess they're sold out of.
Yeah, I don't know if they're having them anymore in the tasting room. Those are really good. Black Slate, congratulations to Black Slate. I don't know if you know what you're getting yourselves into, but Black Slate is two companies, one owner, Hunter.
Yep.
And Hunter owns Black Slate Construction and Black Slate Roofing. So Black Slate Construction?
Yes, Black Slate Construction, where solid builds, straight talk, and no shortcuts turn plans into something you're proud to show off.
And Black Slate Roofing,
where your roof gets done right the first time, because we'll fix it later isn't part of the plan.
We had a lot of fun doing the commercials.
We did.
And every time I would say roofing, I wanted to say it like, oh no, it's going to sound like he's roofing. He's roofing people. Roofing. Yeah, roofing. And the great, tremendous.
I almost forgot about us.
Yeah, you gotta talk about Mallet Integrity Team.
Mallet Integrity Team, where for sale signs don't get lonely. We introduce them to sold pretty quickly.
Oh, look at that. Bump. Yeah, bump. Let's go to Deep Eddy after this, okay?
Well, I think we need to. After Swampy Tonk and everything that's been going on, real estate market's heating up, things are happening, and we are staying on top of it so far. I feel like one day I'm just going to crawl into a cocoon somewhere and stop.
I like cocoons. I like my little bed cocoon. Oh, I told you a story about my husband this morning. He thought he stepped on poop, but he stepped on bird guts. It was actually pretty. And I was
I'm not sure which one of those is better.
I was in my little bed cocoon, and I actually was thinking, I'm just gonna lay here and pretend like I didn't hear what I didn't know what happened.
Let him deal with that. Yeah, that's true.
Well, Kylie, welcome to the show. We are excited to have you on.
Welcome into the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you're a Texas native.
I am.
Yeah.
I am a deep southeast Texas native.
Deep southeast Texas. So I want you to paint us a picture of what it was like growing up in the piney woods of Texas.
It's funny, I was actually hanging out with my friend this weekend, and we're both from the same area, and it's very spiritual. I think just that side of Louisiana and Texas border has some very deep roots, and there's a lot there's a lot that goes on in the piney woods. I really loved my childhood. It was a really amazing experience, but it's definitely a lot different than since I've been living out here.
Well, because it does lend itself to a lot of the Louisiana side too. So you're like, it's kind of confusing. My best friend is from Port Neches. Right
okay, yeah, that's like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
away.
and my other best friend is from Silsbee. So yeah, and you can hear it in their voice, but you know it's a little coon-ass, a little Texan, a little Louisiana.
Well, I'm from Lumberton, and so Lumberton and Silsbee are right back to back.
Right there.
There's just a little creek.
I had to look it up. I'd never heard of Lumberton. Now I found out it's north of Beaumont.
It was the lumber town.
Lumbertown.
Lumbertown.
Oh, Piney Woods. Yeah, that makes sense.
The lumber town.
Yeah. Kylie, you mentioned in your bio that your sister has never called you by your actual name. I want to know what she does actually call you.
She calls me Sissy.
Sissy.
I don't know if she knows my government name.
Government name.
Yeah, she gave a speech at my wedding. She's 18 now, and she was like, "Sissy this, sissy that, sissy everything."
Oh, that's
cute.
That's sweet though.
It is sweet.
That's very sweet. So what brought you here to the Texas Hill Country was college. You went to Texas State.
I did.
Right, and right when you first started Texas State, you're like, I'm going to be a journalist because everything is just puppies and unicorns, and I'm going to change the world. And you changed your major right there because you said you didn't just want to tell the story, you wanted to change the story.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Explain that.
So I didn't put this in there because I thought it would be a fun surprise. But
good. We like that. Always like that.
I did intern for KFDM News in Beaumont when I was in high school, and then we had a little small town newspaper called Lumberton Ledger that I worked at for a couple months, like my sophomore year. So media that's already the track that I wanted to go. I did audio video. I was doing the newsroom, like that's what I wanted to do. And then Hurricane Harvey happened in Southeast Texas, where I was interning for the news and working for the newspaper, so they put me in a lifeboat, pretty much, and we went in, we had a drone filming all of the footage and all of the homes that were underwater, and I was interviewing people, so that happened, and then we had a plant explosion, this was a little further down the line, where I had to interview this family. It was a single mom that had 4 kids, and all the windows had been blown out of her house, and she was in government housing in Beaumont, and all of the windows had been blown out of her home, and in that moment I was like, I don't know if I can do this, like, just going to people and putting a microphone in their face.
At the worst time in their life. Yeah,
and not cry. I cried when I left. Like, I remember sitting in the back of the van being like, I don't know if I can... I don't know how to edit this. I don't know how to, like, I don't know if I'm built for this. I want to help them. And I know that sharing stories is helpful. But I just wanted to follow their story, and help them out in the long run.
You have to go to each tragedy and talk to those people, and you're right. The editor or whatever, or the manager sends you down the road before you even have a chance to really get to know them. You get their story, and then boom, you're gone. That's gotta be really hard.
And you really take it home with you when you go home. And so then you decided, I know what, I'm going to go into something a lot lighter, and I'm going to go in helping children that are in foster care.
So what did you get your degree in?
I did public relations and media studies.
Okay.
I really love branding and brand design and all that fun stuff. I like writing. I still really love writing. So yeah.
Maybe that part of your story though isn't done.
Yeah.
Maybe you can still. I mean, you are young, so you can still. Shoot, I've reinvented myself several times. I think I'm going to do it this afternoon too.
I think just in the last month we've reinvented ourselves 3 or 4 times.
Absolutely. So talk about working in foster care advocacy and what that did for you. You, without going into specifics, how has that shaped the way you look at adulthood, responsibility? And for me, it was a big deal with how I viewed parenthood and my view. You don't have children yet, but before you have children, you're like, oh, I would never.
Yeah.
I would never. My daughter was a little judgy in that sense. And now you're like, okay, that's not the whole story. There's a lot behind it, and it's not just because they're a POS human being and they're neglecting their children. Yes, some of them are like that, but there's a lot of other components to that. So let's talk about that a little bit.
I think a lot of it had to do with growing up in Beaumont is kind of why I wanted to get into it. I mean, it's a very large poverty rate. I would say maybe 60% of the population over there is on welfare.
That high?
Yeah, I know they're all on free lunch. The entire school district is on free lunch.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of gang violence. There's a lot of gang violence. And so I grew up with just being around these kids and a part of these kids' lives, and I was always the kid that was friends with everybody. Like, I didn't really care where you grew up. I invited all of them to church with me, which some liked, some didn't like, but offer was always there. I was picking them up from, bad situations they were in or sneaking out and helping them. They would always, my friends came over to my house to, my mom would cook dinner, and it was just kind of everybody's home, and I was everybody's friend. And there wasn't a lot of kids like that, I think, especially because Lumberton and Beaumont are two totally different worlds. Like, Lumberton is the suburb, so it's the nicer side of things. But from that experience, going into advocacy, I already knew that, like, hurt people hurt people.
Yes. Yeah.
So these hurt kids grow up and have children, and they just kind of continue the cycle without knowing it. And if you don't know any different and no one's reached out to help you or, give you some resources or help even just motivate you along the way and give you some confidence in your life, I can see why that cycle continues.
You have to break the cycle,
yeah.
Somewhere along the way. What's a typical workday look like for you now?
Right now it's a lot of events. I go to a lot of events.
Community outreach stuff.
Yeah, and tell people about what I do and try to recruit more volunteers. And it is a lot of fun. I have noticed that in some areas it's more of a taboo subject, and the more
foster care.
Yes.
Oh, really?
At least, yeah.
Well, because CPS is the devil, right? I encountered that where CPS, no matter what, is the absolute devil, and they're kidnapping kids and.
Yeah. Some people definitely have that viewpoint, but I have seen in our more rural areas. It's just more of a close-knit community. So someone doesn't want to advocate or help out someone else's family they may know, especially those smaller groups, because everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everyone's business.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to get in my neighbor's business, or I don't know if that's the whole story. So.
They always say there's three sides to every story: his, hers, and the truth.
And the truth. It's funny you just said that. I never thought of CPS that way, where because in the community we live in, Dripping Springs, you got Foster Village, and there's all these services, and you don't think of.
Well, because you're seeing our side of it, right?
I know,
you're seeing the
I'm
helping
saying.
side of it,
and
now imagine you're the parent, the mother, or the father now who CPS is investigating you, and then what I did is I would evaluate the way you looked, the way you smelled, the way you talked to your children, and it was all in a report. But I would try to be
and then CPS would decide
evaluate
what to do based on that.
Based on on interactions with supervised visitation action, and so what these court appointed people do is they advocate strictly for the child, right? They're not advocating for the parent. They are the child's voice when the child doesn't have a voice. And so I worked a lot with people of that nature.
So the organization you work with, which we won't mention, it is an advocate for the children that are going into the foster care system?
Yeah, so the overall goal in any advocacy organization is reunification. We want that child to have, a safe, healthy, stable home life.
Gotcha.
So a lot of that is helping the family and helping the parents.
Where parental classes or trying to figure out
the court order services, what they determine, and we do make recommendations. So because we're eyes and ears of the judge. So
do you find that work can be a little administratively sterile versus where you're literally standing in front of a mom who was into some bad situation? Because a lot of what I worked with was a protective parent aspect, where it was like a husband and a wife, and either the husband did something or the wife did something, and they love their their husband or their wife and they want to stay with them, but now there's the protective parent aspect. You have to be a parent first.
Where they're covering up what happened because they don't want any.
So like,
they don't want the kids.
Let's say for instance, I'm just gonna throw something out there. The mom slapped the child, right? The child got hurt. The husband is like, well, obviously I want to protect my child, but I'm married to my wife, and so you have to separate because your priority is your child, not your wife. But I found that when you look at all of the paperwork and somebody's asking you for the umpteenth time what your date of birth is and your story over and over and over again, is to have that kind of real connection with somebody, take away the sterility, the sterileness of it.
Oh, I mean, there is 9 million documents.
Yes.
And some of them say different things because maybe they were interviewed by a caseworker, maybe they were or maybe there was a police report. So there's all these different documents, and sometimes they say different things. So part of being an advocate, or just even CPS, they have to put the pieces together and find out what the truth is. And the only way to do that, somewhat, is to build a relationship, especially with the child and the family.
The different regions, from my experience also through CPS, don't even really necessarily share their information. So let's say this child came from Lubbock and now they're here, and it's in foster care here because it was a family placement.
Does that happen where kids from that far away get put in foster care 300 miles away from where their parents are?
Oh, absolutely. So we have children that are removed from our area that get moved to out of state.
Because that's the only place where they can get placed in foster care?
Sometimes. I mean, there's a bunch of different options, too. So they can go to a group home, they can go to foster care. Maybe there was an aunt that lives in Arizona who agreed to take them in.
Oh, I got you.
They might go to, like, a psychiatric facility or, like, a RTC or rehab treatment center. Yeah.
So in the example you just gave where the aunt is in Arizona, but she probably doesn't have any experience with foster care, how does she get to understand the whole foster care process?
I know. Yeah. I was an aunt who got a child from foster care, and I was like, I don't know. And our caseworker would come and she'd sit on our couch and she was like, it's so nice here. Yeah. It doesn't smell like urine. There aren't roaches running around. He's healthy. He's great. I gotta do my intake. I gotta say I was here, but it was just nice. Then I started going to ride-alongs, and I would be like, oh, I know why you liked coming to my house now. Yeah. But yeah, literally, we just got thrown into it. I got a call the day before. They said, your nephew's, he's going to be placed in foster care. We need a family placement. And we had to drive to Lubbock. We had less than 12 hours to grab him. He was in our car.
Wow.
Yeah. We had no idea what we were doing.
Well, and that's why organizations like Foster Village are so
important.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wish that was around. I had talked about that before when we had interviewed them. I wish that had been around when I got my nephew.
Well, that's the majority of what they do is, last minute, and that's how it is a majority of the time. And they don't have any clothes for the child, shoes, toys, books, hygiene products, whatever.
Toothpaste, we didn't have anything. We stopped at a Walmart. How are you not taking all of that home with you? How are you leaving it at the door? You walk in the door and open up your Bible and just like...
Yeah, prayer.
Yeah.
That's really the only way. Or, I mean, you have to have hope and you have to have faith that, like, these kids are going to make a better life for themselves. And I can't do that. I can help all that I can. CPS can help all that they can. Different organizations, therapists, doctors, teachers, everyone can help all that they can. But it comes down to that child and my faith. And their faith at the end of the day. Because
you can't openly minister to these kids, but by example, by leading by example.
Right.
Right.
What are the age of the kids that you see that are getting placed in foster care?
Oh,
a day old.
Yeah.
A day old to 17.
Really? To just almost an adult?
Sometimes 18 they can do extended foster care too. So if you graduate as a foster child, or as you're 18 as a foster child, you can do extended foster care.
Okay.
Where they help you out until I believe you're 22. Might be even older now.
In your experience, do the older kids? Because obviously, if it's a day old, unless they have, the mom was addicted to alcohol or drugs. you have issues there, but do you find that the older kids tend to come with more issues that need to be resolved than the younger kids?
No.
Really?
Yeah. So, I can only speak from what I've seen because
I'm just asking your
I've only been
opinion,
on
your
one
day-to-day
case.
experience.
But smaller children usually have injuries. And I mean, there's shaken baby syndrome, there's neglect, you gotta think like smaller children have a lot more needs. Where a teenager at that point in their life is kind of gonna have some more things figured out. And only from what I've seen, because I love a teenager case, they're my favorite because I was a troubled teenager. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And you're only really, honestly, a few years out of that. You still, like...
You can offer more insight.
For me and Michelle, it was a long...
Don't say and Michelle.
Long,
Don't say and Michelle. I think he went to school with the Flintstones.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he did.
They pedaled their bus.
They did. They
you probably don't even know what that is.
He did.
Kylie doesn't even know what that is.
She just said that. She said they pedaled their bus to school.
That's right. They did. Oh, you did. You watched it. Okay.
A little tablet.
Went to Yabba Dabba Doo.
Boy, that was our rabbit trail.
That was for sure.
But anyway, you like working with the teenage kids.
Yeah. At least in my experience, I've seen that they're like, nope, everything's fine. I'm great. Leave me alone.
Well, you know what?
Anything.
That leads me to, you said something in your bio that you often are the youngest person in the room. And do you think because of that, I think you could feel like you could probably relate more to the teenagers, but do you think when you're working, whether in a professional setting, you're either underestimated, or do you think you can kind of think of it as gives you more of like a gift a little bit?
I think a little bit of both. I was going to ask y'all why y'all wanted me on your podcast.
Well, you know what? There was something that struck me when I was speaking to you. And, I heard that you had mentioned, when I was in college, I had this podcast. And it was just basically, just girls sitting there gossiping and laughing and stuff like that. But then when I saw where you worked and what you did at such a young age, and because I worked in that arena and I knew about the burnout and I knew about all of that other stuff, I was like, okay, you were on my radar. And that's why, and it's very unusual for somebody like you, of your age, I feel, to be so articulate and not bratty. Does that, don't take that offensively,
No,
but not,
I get it, I get it.
Yeah.
That's funny. But we have learned on this podcast, your episode 223, that everybody we talk to has an interesting story. Yeah, everybody that sits in that chair has something interesting to contribute. And so, Michelle, I guess we met you at a leadership chamber meeting, but Michelle recognizing you that your story was going to be interesting. So far, I'm fascinated. So, Kylie, what percentage of kids, you mentioned reunification, do you have any idea what percentage of kids that get placed in foster care actually end up back with their parents, or roughly?
I don't know a percentage, but I do know a good amount. Like, it's more frequent than you would think.
Okay.
Because sometimes a mom is in a domestic violence situation, and the mom's a good parent. They're just in a bad relationship. Yeah. And sometimes that happens.
And she needs to find stable housing and employment.
And leave and so when she figures everything out, a lot of the times she can, receive the child back. It really depends on the situation. Yeah. And you'd think that there's about 5 different situations. No.
There's
millions probably. I'm sure. And then if the child is placed in foster care and reunification can't happen, is adoption on the agenda after that?
I know. Sorry.
There's a lot of steps that they have to, or benchmarks that they have to miss. The parental subject has to miss in order for that child to be. Usually it's a year, 2 years. It depends. I mean, I think they keep moving the sliding scale, because then the parent could be doing better, and then they slide back, and then so there's just different benchmarks. But it does take a lot for the state to remove full custody from, and sometimes it's volunteer. Sometimes the parents were like, okay, I now see that my child's in a better position, so I'm going to voluntarily do that. But that's not, doesn't happen.
CPS provides something called, or they have to do something called, I think it's reasonable effort.
Yes.
Where they go above and beyond for these parents. A lot of the times. Obviously, I don't know every single situation. But where they're picking them up at their home, helping them go look for jobs, taking them to their services. So if they have to go to AA meetings or like a parenting meeting or different types of therapy, they're helping facilitate that happening as much as the parent allows.
Okay.
So they can't obviously like force them to go do these things, but they provide reasonable effort.
And then you go to court, and then that parent says they want that. This I've seen it a couple of times. I'm not going to say all of them are like this, but I'm going to say you go to court, and then they show up in pajamas and house shoes, and you're like,
I've seen videos of that.
like,
That's
you're in
Or
court.
they're on Zoom making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like,
you've seen that. I mean, I've seen that not just in like a permanency case, but just on TikTok. I see it all the time.
it's like,
really
what
funny.
are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? For
Yeah.
sure. So you married young.
I did.
I
It's
did
not my
too.
plan.
I did too. And yeah, because you did. You said that you were going to wait until you're 30. Society tells you, and your age group, that you don't want to get married. You want to stay single. You want to stay free. Don't settle. Marriage is a trap. You you don't want to be stuck in a kitchen making your husband a sandwich and being
Right.
subservient.
on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. This age group,
Yeah.
the social media, it's geared all towards that. So, what was it about your husband that changed your mind?
Well, I had sworn off dating for a little while. I was going through this reformation.
There you go. There you go.
I was a couple months away from graduating, so this was spring of 2024, maybe? Yeah, 2024. And I was like, I'm just going to focus on myself. I had to move back home for a little bit. I was doing a lot of Bible reading and just going to work, going to the gym, going to school, coming home. That was my routine. And eventually my friends were like, I think it had been like 2 or 3 months since I'd been on a date. And they were like, you're getting weird. Like, you gotta do
Those are good friends.
Yeah,
There you
want
go.
those
weird.
friends.
This is getting weird. Get an app. Like, there's all the apps. And obviously through college, like, you download Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, whatever. And I was like, well, Hinge is the safest. So I will get Hinge. And I think he was my first match. And he had, like, no bio. It was some really old, like, gym pictures.
That's exactly the kind of person you want. The one that has, like, the curated profile. You're like, ugh.
Yep, and so he messaged me, and I was like, whatever. Like, this is just another match. They go into the pile, that never really leads to anywhere. He won't ask me out. He would not leave me alone. And so at the time, I was living at home, and he was like, can I take you on a date? Can I take you on a date? It's like, okay, but if you pick me up, like, I live with my parents. Like, you're going to have to meet my parents. If you want to pick me up thinking this is going to deter him. This will do it, right?
Yeah.
Now I can still get married at 30. No. He was like, okay, well, he said, you seem like you're worth it. And I was like, okay. So he came, he picked me up. We went on our date. And then I remember that weekend, my dad and my sister and I do an annual kayaking trip. So we were on our kayaking trip for spring break. And my dad was like, I like him. Ooh. And I was like, I have never in my life heard my dad say that he likes a boy that we've brought home. And his joke has always been like, I'll never say I like a boy that you bring home. But he did.
I say that.
Yeah. And Dylan was just so sweet and kind-hearted and, like, wanted to make me happy. Since being in college, it's really rare that you meet a boy that also cares about you.
And is not a hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of time, like, they're in frats and they sleep around and they do whatever they want to do and they go party and they're not really worried about how the girl that they're with is feeling.
They're not dating their future wife.
Yeah, they're having fun.
Yeah, they're having fun.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
There is a part of your life where you want to do that, but that's not when you go looking for a partner.
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking for a partner. I don't think Dylan was looking for a partner either. But we started talking about life and, how we wanted to raise kids and where we wanted to live and what we wanted to do, and everything just aligned. So he proposed after 9 months.
Wow.
But he did. He told me on our third date, he was like, I'm going to marry you.
Ooh.
And I went home and I told my dad, I was like, that guy you like, he's nuts. Like,
he already said he wants to marry me.
Yeah, he said he wants to marry me. He was crazy. And then, we got married.
That's
here
funny.
we are.
What was the first date you guys went on?
We went to this bar, and it was actually really funny. We went to this bar, And we sat down, he ordered me a beer, and I talked, so I had been reading my Bible. This has been like all that I was doing for 3 months prior.
Not
so
dating, reading your Bible, that's good.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I was just telling him about the Bible for like 2 hours, like, I don't think, he just sat there and smiled the whole time, didn't really say anything. I asked like a couple questions about him. And then I was like, okay, well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And he walked me to my car, and I was like, he's never going to call me back. And he did. He was like, I think I really like you. You should go to a second date.
Aww.
Okay, cool.
That's cool.
That is
Michelle
really cool.
and I talk all the time about how lucky we are to have found the love of our lives, because we don't ever have to go through that whole dating thing again. And
Yes.
I think I would be a hermit if anything ever happened to Holly.
Well,
just never.
We're also
never
a
go on
lot.
dating.
Like, we're a
Well,
lot.
that's true.
We're a lot. And so we have the perfect spouses, and it sounds like you found your perfect spouse also. But have you ever felt that your values don't necessarily match what your generation is being fed, being gaslit right now?
Oh, 100%. I knew that in college. When I was, even 18 years old going to college for the first time, that was when the 2020 election was happening.
Yeah.
And it was COVID, and it was crazy town.
Yeah.
People were losing their minds everywhere, especially 18-year-old kids, because you're still a kid at that point.
Yeah.
And there's a pandemic happening. You've left home for the first time. You're on your own in college. My parents had prepared me very well to go out into the real world, and I noticed a lot of them were not prepared. I had friends and roommates who still probably don't pay their own rent.
Yeah.
Never had a job in college whatsoever. Their job was school, which is fine if that's what you believe in. That was not my parents' expectation of me. I worked all through high school to pay for 2 years. My parents paid for the first 2 years. I paid for the last 2 years.
You had some skin in the game.
Yeah,
That's what we
my
did with our
favorite
kids.
phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, I don't want to say you have leverage as a kid, but you're like, okay, I can do what I want to do a little bit. I'm paying for things. I'm paying for bills. I wasn't on any of my own insurance or anything yet. But yeah, I had some skin in the game, and a lot of kids didn't. I think that's why my values are, okay, what would help me as an adult? And a lot of them had some more immature thought processes.
Well, they're telling you right now that this is the time to what is the term, sow your wild oats?
Oats,
and
yeah.
and party and sleep around and do all the
Can't
do all the fun
undo that stuff,
do
though,
all
when
the
you
fun
get
stuff.
older. That's
Well,
the problem.
and so my daughter, who is 25, 26 years old now, she's married. She met her husband at Texas State.
Yeah.
And she now has my favorite human in the entire universe, my granddaughter. All of her friends, the same age, they're not, I'm not saying you have to be married, right? But she has a career, she's a working mother, she understands all that, and she's having a really hard time relating to people her age, because they're still in that mindset of no responsibility, and mom and dad, they're gonna ride that insurance train right up to 26 years of age, and they're still.
I remember that when the government said, you can have your kids on their plan and on your plan until they're 26 years old for health insurance, and I was like, what idiocy is this? At some point, you have to go let these kids go be adults and understand what it's like to get health insurance and have a car payment and have car insurance and pay taxes and all that, because that's real life. And the more you insulate them from that, the harder life's going to be when it slaps you in the face. Kylie, you mentioned in your bio that things that keep you up at night are the economic and social state of the world. That got me.
That stuck with you,
yeah. Because you're young and the world's your oyster, so to speak. And so, what kind of things are worrying you? What kind of things do you stew on?
Well, I did want to follow up, and I'll leave that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll bring it back.
So my parents had me. They were 22 when they had me.
Yeah.
So when I was 22, I thought I was behind. I was like, which was when I was in college, I felt like I was behind. And I had just kind of grown up with my parents, too. So I think that had a big impact on my maturity. Also grew up really fast, going into your question, especially living in Beaumont. There's a lot of, what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You go left, you go right, and you're like, okay, so you may toe the line over here a little bit. But what stuck with me, your story about growing up in the Beaumont area, was that you were kind of the responsible one. You may have been going through some of your own crap too, right? But you were still like, okay, look, come over to my house. My mom's gonna fix you dinner.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have a couch. I have a couch you can sleep on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here, let's pray. Let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you're still working through your own stuff.
We prayed with my friends, but I still had my own fun. That's why
That's
why I'm not sowing my wild oats now. Is I was running around and sneaking out and doing a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I never let it impact my future.
Yeah.
I guess. I had a lot of friends who didn't. Well, I have some friends that passed away just from things that go on in
lifestyle choices and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think that makes you grow up faster as well.
Well, kind of what Steve was saying about the things that keep you up at night, that is more of like a traditional family, a traditional value kind of point of view that it's keeping. I'm sure there's not many 24-year-olds that are being kept up at night.
Yeah, the
by
things
thinking
that keep them up are like, does that guy like me, or am I gonna pass that economics class or whatever?
No, mine right now is, when am I gonna be able to buy a house?
Yeah. See, so that's one of them right there. Is what keeps you up at night.
We know people. We know people that can.
I know. I feel like my grandma a lot of the time. She's like, Jesus is coming back, and when I was little, I was like, okay, they've been saying that for a long time, but now I'm 23, about to be 24, and I'm like, nope, Jesus is coming back.
But
I see it now.
What you're going through right now and what's going on in the world, it reminds me of, because when I was around your age, the Gulf War was happening. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of felt like, the other shoe was going to drop. The world was ending, and my husband was going to be drafted, or my brother was in the military at the time, and something was going to happen to him. And so it was very similar but different to what was going on with you. I just think there's information overload. You're getting all this information all of the time at any country.
Like social media, kind of piggybacking on that, social media bombards you and makes you worry about things?
Not really. I think I've always been like a news person, so if I wasn't on social media, I'd have the news on, or I'd be reading the newspaper. Well,
you're probably really good at deciphering what's crap and what's real. But one of the reasons that question or that response on the bio got me was because I think a lot of young people are really worried about the world right now, thinking that it's like going to hell in a handbasket. But you just have to look back at history. The things that have happened. I mean, World War I, World War II, we had Korea, we had Vietnam. We had presidents that have been shot, and in the 80s we had almost full economic collapse. We've had the Depression. There's some bad things happening right now.
They got TikTok, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is I've had friends over the years that they really do get like fatigued from the news. They're like they just shut down. Yeah. Especially like over elections and all kinds of stuff. Things going on in the world, Epstein files, like they just
I know. It's like
going to themselves. They're like, the world is a horrible place, and I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. You're like, okay, well, it's still TikTok. Like these things have always happened. Always happened.
That makes me sad. That makes me sad that there are people missing out on life because honestly, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they feed you the stuff that makes you that way. That makes you
addicted to this
you're
drama.
Addicted to it, and they go, oh, you know what? They like watching those videos about, some protests that, well, I'm going to show them more of those, and it just feeds into this negativity.
Well, then also, Steve, like when they ask them on these protests or whatever it is, the protest du jour, what are you protesting about? Like, I'll never forget this one where he said, from the river to the sea. What river? What sea? Yeah, and they had this blank look on their face. They were like, I don't know.
What do you think, Kylie? They probably saw a video on TikTok that said from the river to the sea, and they went, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm going to go protest.
Well, in my PR marketing training, I like to think of social media as like, like the end cap on the at the grocery store. Like, what you see the most is what you're going to consume the most, It might not be the healthiest option. It's probably usually the most expensive option, but it's what they're pushing in your face because it's what they want to get sold.
Right.
So you really have to have discernment.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of I would say I'm still a kid. I'm just married, but
I would agree.
Am
You're
I
still a kid.
Hey, look, I'm 55. I'm usually going, I'm the adult in the room.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
But I can see why they feel that way, especially if you're over consuming. Like sometimes you gotta take a break and watch movies.
Michelle
like,
says that all.
like,
Yeah,
go to the
Michelle
gym.
says that. Go touch
grass.
Yeah.
Go touch some grass. So I wanna shift gears just a little bit. And you talked about how your grandmother and your mom were both singers.
Mm-hmm.
And you also I think it was during college, you worked at Whitewater.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about that time? And did you ever, like, we just got done having this Swampy Tonk where Steve and I were MCs, and it was really cool. Did you ever have, like, this really cool, like, oh, I'm kind of starstruck a little bit?
Meeting Parker McCollum.
Oh, yeah. Because he's pretty.
Yeah.
He's very pretty.
So I had the biggest, like, I was just a big fan of, do y'all know who Wetzel is?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to his bar last
Couple weeks
week,
ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago in Houston. He has a bar in Houston.
Mm-hmm. He has one in Fort Worth, too.
Oh.
But I knew he was coming to play, so I did hospitality. I helped with hospitality.
Hospitality.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a new word. I didn't know what that means.
Yeah, and then production, and then I was the merchandise manager.
Oh.
So kind of a little bit of everything. I knew he was coming to perform, but I wasn't the one working with the artists.
Yeah.
I was making sure the world went round while we were there, but I wasn't directly like interacting with them a lot. And I remember my coworker was like, "Hey, they need more water and beer in the green room or something. You bring them some." And I was like, "Sure." And I didn't know they were in there. I thought that they were because they brought this big tour bus, so I thought that they were still in their bus. And so I walk in there and I turn, and there's Wetzel and like his whole band.
You're
and
like,
hi.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he was like, "Can I take that I'll help you out, you know?" And so I don't remember saying a whole lot. I was just like, okay, cool, yeah. And then when they perform at Whitewater, usually they would ask them like if they wanted to go float the river, especially over the summer, and a lot of them do. That's why if you ever wonder why a concert's delayed, it's probably because they were drunk at the river.
Yeah. They got stuck on some
Sounds
bank
like a
or
fun
whatever.
time.
Yeah.
I remember we were in I was helping drop them off at the river. So he obviously had his posse with him, like a bunch of girls, a bunch of friends, there's a bunch of beer, like there's a lot going on. And so we were taking them in groups to the river. And I turn around and Wetzel's sitting behind me. And he just starts talking to me and like asks me about my life and stuff. And eventually came out of my shell and I started to be funny. Told him where I was from. And I was like, "Oh, I first saw you when you played at a venue in Beaumont. That was a long time ago."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You want to float the river with us?" And I was like, "Well, I work here. Yeah, I can't do that."
Yeah.
But I think that was the first time. I think because that was one of my first concerts working at too, where I was like, "Okay, they're just people."
And that's
what we discovered at Swampy Tonk. We had Adam Hood and Uncle Lucius and a bunch of other artists here, and they're just normal folks.
And the more you treat them just like a regular person, you cut up with them and whatnot. I think the more relaxed they are, because they're constantly getting that. Like, especially Parker, right? Yeah. Constantly getting, "Oh my God, Parker. And he is one of the funniest people. He is so witty. Yeah. But, I think people appreciate that. I will never, ever forget this. This was before she made it really big. I think I've told you this story before, but my girlfriend Dana and I, we were working the green room, and Taylor Swift was there, and we had all these, like, little fruit cups out, and Dana had her fruit cup, and she put it down. She had eaten out of it, I think ate the strawberries out, and just put it down and went to come back and get it. And Taylor walked over and picked the fruit cup up and started eating out of it. And Dana and I looked at each other and we're like, "I'm not telling her."
Yeah.
I'm not telling her. So we're like, Dana and Taylor Swift shared a meal.
Yeah.
They don't know it, but they shared a meal.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But yeah, I mean, once you just realize that they are just people and you're there to do a job. But it is kind of cool to be hobnobbing with people that you look up to.
Yeah, well, some of them it has got to their head. I learned that.
Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah, there was a couple times where they would, they would put in their rider sheet, so everything that they want for the day or whatever, and it would be crazy stuff. Like, one of them, very well-known artist, by the way, was like, I want my, he said he wanted his chicken grilled with horizontal grill marks in the chicken. And asparagus with the opposite horizontal grill marks.
Yeah.
And then, so we make all this food, we do all these things.
And they don't eat anything.
Up. He showed up 15 minutes before he was supposed to be on stage.
And didn't have any of it.
Didn't have any of it, and we were like, well, I mean, whatever.
Sometimes they do it just to see if they can, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, it is funny because some of them will put crazy stuff on the writer sheet, like all kinds.
We were talking about the writer sheet this weekend.
Yeah, just to see if we read it.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, I want cocaine at 3 o'clock.
Oh,
yeah.
And then they'll move on, it'll be normal again. And we're like, oh, we email them, sorry.
Sorry, can't do the cocaine at 3 o'clock.
We had beer in our fridge from Uncle Lucius.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I was just kidding. I wanted to see if y'all would read it.
I think the most wild thing that anybody asked us for this weekend was a bottle of Maker's Mark. I don't remember who that was, but that was it. Everybody, all the other stuff was real.
Like no green M&Ms kind of thing.
That. No. They were all pretty cool people.
I have a kind of an ending question for you about your generation, who you are as a person. If someone your age feels totally out of place in today's world, and kind of just doesn't fit that mold that they're trying to put you guys in, what would you tell them?
Just be yourself. I think lean into the gifts that God's given you, for sure. A lot of time, I blame myself all the time, where I'm like, oh, I wish I was good at math. Like, I could,
lean into it. I'm not good at math.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, my career would be totally different. I would make so much money if I was, an engineer or worked in finance, like, so many other things that I could have done. But that's just not the gift that God gave me at all. So just really leaning into what you love and what you're good at and what you believe, and I think that's really important.
Stop the noise. Don't listen to the noise.
That's actually very profound, because a lot of people, even my age, don't understand that. It's like, you can spend your whole life looking at what you don't have, or you can spend your whole life appreciating what you do have, and the second one is much more. It feeds you better than the first one.
Steve, that was very philosophical of you. That was very philosophical.
Well, I think a lot of people my age feel behind too because of social media. Like you've got all these girls on OnlyFans who are bazillionaires, and all these guys that do day trading.
Right.
And they're
finance
like,
bros.
$7,000
in Bitcoin.
And you're like, okay, and they have these big houses and these garages and they're these cars and families and stuff, and you're like, wow, like what am I doing wrong? But at the same time, it's okay. We're young, and
girl, you don't grow out of it, because I still feel the same thing. You still get like the Joneses, keeping up with the Joneses, right? And you're like, okay, well, I don't have as much money in retirement as I would like to. I don't have the investments that I would like to. But you know what? I've raised 3 good kids. Yeah. My children are good
You're
people.
You're focusing on the good stuff.
Not the money.
I doing this podcast, we have met some people, very high wealth people, that are miserable.
Yep.
And so
no money, no problem.
Yeah. Well, it's true. Not everybody. There are some people that have lots of money and they're perfectly happy, but it doesn't fix all your problems. And a lot of people, actually, you're right, it multiplies their problems.
I would like to be able to try, though, and just see if I would be a menace to society.
Just drop $10 million in my purse. Let me just see how that works. I might be happy. My last question for you, Kylie, is in your bio you mentioned that you enjoy friendly debates.
I do.
Yeah, what kind of topics do you like?
All kinds.
Politics?
I do. I like politics. Especially with my family and my husband.
Are you guys on different sides of the political spectrum?
No, he just has a different take on things. He's a man, so he's a little bit more aggressive and logical. Where I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Well, what if we look at it this way? Well, what if we play devil's advocate? And he's like, no.
That's my husband and I, too. Yeah. My husband, like, if we just, like, we call it propaganda when we get home from work. And I'm like, let's put on some propaganda. We always say that, not the news. Let's just put some propaganda on, and now we know what it is. Yeah. And his version of what he's gotten out of it and versus what I've gotten out of it, he'll just, like, rant about it for, like, the next 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, shut up. I'm making dinner. I don't care anymore.
I am, too. I see the world. Holly's eyes just glaze over when I start doing that. But give me one topic that you've debated somebody on recently. I want to hear about it.
I think it was me and my dad. My dad is, we're deep Southern, so my family's conservative.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how there's a party dissolution in my generation. Like, we're not really picking a party to side with anymore.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I grew up one way and I have views and stuff, but with mass information and mass media all the time, you figure out everyone's kind of a liar.
And they're all crap.
That is
Both
true.
of them are crap.
Yeah. So I think, and every time an election rolls around, it's like, Republicans versus Democrats, versus Democrats, and we're like, we're not really taking either anymore. And I think, especially when my generation gets to that point, where we could be in office, I think that there will be like a serious political shift, maybe a party dissolution altogether.
Outside of a two-party system. Yeah,
or a switch or something. But I know.
Well, there's been a switch already because the Democrat Party of today versus the Democrat Party of 40 or 50 years ago, they're not even close. They're so different, and there's been that shift already.
Have you seen the TMZ reporting that they're doing right now, where like this whole shift? They're not right now reporting on celebrity news. It's send me where your senator is because they're on vacation. And like Lindsey Graham's at Disney World, and somebody else is on a cruise. Yeah, it's great. It's
What's the point of that?
Well, because our country is still shut down. They or partially shut down.
I got you.
And so they're like, and the people that we are paying.
I thought where you were going was this trend of following politicians into restaurants.
No, not that. I'm not.
Freaking
no,
ridiculous.
I'm not in agreement with that, but I am in agreement with they're taking a 2-week vacation, paid vacation on our dime. And do you know they get to do that 4 times a year?
I know,
4 times a year. But it's like there's no resolution to anything right now. They're like, oh, guess what? I'm taking a vacation. Guess I don't have to worry about it anymore while Americans are suffering.
So if you were voted president, what would you do? You don't like the two-party system. I don't like it either. But how would you run the country differently than this?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Well, I know, but this thing that's been in place for 250 years, given it's changed over and over and over. But what would you do differently?
4-day work weeks. Say it.
Honestly, I think that we could get really deep. But
well, come on.
First of all, I don't think I'd ever get elected. Period. I think that my true core values would work for like a president in the 50s and 60s. It wouldn't work now. Yeah. Just because everyone has to give money for their cause, and that's how people get voted in. And I don't know what I would do. I think what we need to do is just be honest, which is something I don't know if anyone's done in politics ever.
Yeah, what a novel idea. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I know. I think there have been a few people. They don't last in office very long, which is a big shame. But the money in politics is bad, and I think that we've gotten to the point where government is so big that it's now the people that work for that government are now voting themselves to have more and more of our money. And you'll find as you get older and you start paying more and more in taxes, you're
the fraud, the waste, the special interest.
But you're also going to go, I pay whatever, between income tax, property tax, sales tax, blah blah blah. I pay whatever $60,000 a year in taxes, and my life's not any better for that, and that kind of stuff.
But they're at Disney World.
They're at Disney World. I get that, but the average person, we don't get anything for it. I mean, we get roads and we get some of this stuff, but a lot of the stuff that those people vote themselves to have more of our money doesn't do us any good.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing the world more as an advocate. You're seeing how government has maybe helped some, with CPS and stuff, has helped some people, and that's great. You're getting to see that.
But then you see probably all the red tape and all the waste.
Yeah,
and all
I'm definitely in favor of a smaller government.
Yeah.
I think it's just gotten way too big. There's way too much power. It's way too big.
Yeah, I agree.
Way too intrusive.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also just because we're Texans and we're all for Republic of Texas.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Well, it's true though. It's what makes us probably the greatest state in the union is that we are all about freedom. Even the people that are for a little bit more government or a lot more government. Still, they cherish the freedom.
Well, Kylie, I don't know if you know this or not, but Steve, he's not originally from Texas, but he's an honorary Texan now because he ate at Luby's.
Oh, okay.
So we allowed him. We gave him
after
citizenship.
25 years,
Yeah.
an official Texan.
Yeah, we gave him citizenship because
But
of the
the two of
Luby's.
you,
I like
two
that.
others in the room are actually born and raised Texans.
Bow to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bow.
Yes.
Kylie, it was such a joy having you in our studio
Yeah,
today.
thanks for having
Man,
me.
I enjoyed this, and
Yeah.
it is also a blessing to have somebody like you in our community, young, hungry, energetic, and back to those traditional values. And open your Bible and pray for us, because we all need it. And I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I hope you get your house that you could sit on the porch and read your Bible and enjoy your animals and your kids and all of that. Live that American dream. I wish that for you.
Yep. Might know some people that can help me with a house.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, Kylie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
today.
you for having me.
With Kylie Zschiesche. She's cool. I like her.
You know, that gives me hope for the 20-something generation. She knows what she wants. She's standing true to her convictions, and she ain't gonna take any crap from anybody.
Very articulate, too.
Very articulate.
Yeah, and not beat down by the world yet. Like, still full of hope.
Yet.
And,
Yet.
Come talk to us in 30 years, Kylie. But no, she's got such a great vision for the future, and we wish her all the luck in the world.
And it sounds like she has a good man by her side, and makes no apologies for
who
being
she is.
Yes, absolutely. No apologies.
Yeah. It was fun. So I'm glad she came in. Big announcement. Guess what's back? The Run by the Creek
Yay!
is back for 2026. Coming in November 1st this year. Is going to happen at Speeding Springs, which is out on Creek Road. So it's on the same road, just a little further west. They've got great parking. It's a nice venue for the race. You know, the last race was 2023. No, I mean 2024.
I think it was 2023.
No, it was 2023 or 2024. After 12 years, we lost the venue. So.
And you were the race director, and you
and
a bunch of your good buddies, along with Chuck, you guys created this
Chuck
race,
and Chris and Tim and.
Everybody just loved it here in the
Brandon.
community, and I participated a couple of times, not running. I ran the snack table. I know that. But so it is my understanding, Mr. Mallett, that this is the first year you will actually be running in the Run by the Creek.
I'm already registered. Holly registered me. So
How exciting.
Every year, I'd do the gun and everybody'd run off, and I'd go, wow, I'd really like to do it, but then you get caught up in everything that's there's a lot of responsibilities with the race director. But this year I get to go out and just enjoy it. So.
How do they register?
It's still the same website, runbythecreek.com, and there's a new group taking it over. It's Epic, which is a ministry of the Friendship Creekside Church.
Okay.
And it's the Epic ministry. It's epictx.org is their website. It it's an outreach, a Christian outreach through athletic endeavors. So they have all kinds of things that they're involved in. But it's pretty cool. The prices are about the same as they were. They're gonna, they understand the vision that we had. It's gonna be good quality shirts, nice. Everybody's gonna get a medal. It's gonna be a real nice
What's the snack
race.
situation?
Yeah, they'll have probably Rice Krispie treats.
Okay.
So,
I'll allow it.
So Michelle will show up. So November 1st, 2026, Run by the Creek is back.
How exciting. So, Mallet, you probably, when you go on vacation, you don't take an Uber, you don't take a Lyft, and you don't take a yellow cab, because you put everything on your back and you carry it all.
Carry it, yes.
And you carry it all. This is kind of cool, and I don't know if I will do it, but this is kind of cool. So TxDOT is leading a pilot program to launch an electrical vertical takeoff and landing. It's eVTOL. I don't know how they're going to say the acronym. eVTOL, not like Uber.
Huh.
Basically, it's an air taxi. It's a helicopter that's a taxi. I'm going to show you. I have a picture of it. Look at that.
Interesting. It
Right.
looks like a giant drone that holds people.
Yeah, so it's going to connect the Texas Triangle, Austin, Texas, San Antonio, eventually Houston. Austin is like where they're kind of starting off in the summer of 2026. The first phase is going to be focusing on validating the routes and the infrastructure. Because I guess you can't just land it anywhere. Maybe you can land it at it doesn't make sense to me. So you're going to land and then you have to take an Uber to where you're going. But I don't
so it looks to me like it can land vertically, and then once it's in the air, these two props in the front tilt down to give it forward motion. So.
Okay. Well, in late 2026, that is their target date for their first actual passenger.
Late 2026?
Yes.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
So this year, and it's a 3-phase rollout. Again, the first phase is the route validation, medical cargo transport.
Okay.
Then the second one was the medical cargo. Then the third one is the full EV toll air taxi service. In about 2 years, you're going to make me look like I was an idiot for saying whatever the acronym, EV toll or whatever it is. But the projected cost as of right now are $3 to $6 per passenger mile. So comparative to an Uber Black, right? So the airport to downtown is going to be about $100 to $200. And then eventually they want to move it to $1 to $2 per mile once more and more people start using it. But I don't know. I think if you were Austin is a very techie town. I could see South by or even
Formula
ACL,
One,
UT games.
Yeah.
Look, I used to work for a radio station where one of the owners bought a helicopter for quote traffic to go to UT games.
I guess it's cheaper than a helicopter, but it's basically a fancy helicopter.
It looks like the Jetsons.
But I mean it's basically a helicopter.
Yeah.
So what does a helicopter ride cost from the airport to downtown? I don't know, a couple $100. So it's just TxDOT is actually funding a helicopter program.
But riddle me this, Batman. So I'm at the airport, right? And I want to go home. I want to take this. This thing isn't landing in my neighborhood. Right?
No, I would assume not.
So now I have luggage. So where is it dropping me off? On Sawyer Ranch, and I got to roll my luggage down to my...
Probably at like the Belterra Shopping Center, and Todd would have to drive over and pick it up.
I guess I see the logistic aspect of it.
They'll have to build landing pads in certain places. Like, you can't, if you own a helicopter, you can't just decide, well, I'm going to go to Jack Allen's for dinner and I'll fly my helicopter and I'll land in the parking lot. There'll be plenty of space. You can't do that. I mean, Life Flight can land out on the highway, but then you got police officers everywhere shutting it down, and there's usually a safety guy.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Here comes Michelle on Sawyer Ranch.
I applaud the creativity. I think there's a lot of unknown there's a lot of unanswered questions about how that's going to work.
Hopefully it's going to be manned and it's not going to be like Waymo.
Well, yeah. And if you think a Waymo is scary, imagine being 2,000 feet in the air with a computer flying and you can't get out. You can't, you can't do anything about it. It starts flying sideways or whatever, and you're like, I want to get out of here. Help me, stop.
Since my kiddo was in helicopters for a living for 8 years,
that's right.
He told me there's so many things that I will not tell you that would happen in the helicopter. So many scary situations.
I bet.
So I was like, yes, please don't tell Mom all of those things. I would like to not know that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I want to follow up on that later in the year and see what actually comes out of that. Because remember, we did a story year and a half or so ago about drones delivering packages, and that was a new thing coming. Apparently that's happening in a lot of places.
Well, maybe a better idea was a heavy-duty drone could come to my house on April 11th and in my front yard and grab the back of me, or like put a strap and Todd and I, and take us to the Moody Center because we're going to go to George Strait and the parking's going to be horrid. So maybe
drop you off right in front of the stage. Yeah.
Like that. I'm okay with that, but I'll have to hold on to my cover.
I'm sure that wouldn't be scary at all.
I mean, it depends on how many old fashions I've had beforehand.
Well, yeah, that's true. You might have to have about 10. Well, those of you that know us know that we're involved in a couple of short-term rentals, and they've actually done fairly well. And knock on wood, we've had very few issues. I think probably the worst thing was just a couple people over the years that have had unreasonable expectations. Like one lady gave us a bad review because we didn't have a TV in every room. It's like, okay. There's 2 large TVs in the house. I don't know why you need
There
one
was the other guy that kind of stayed there and used some sort of product everywhere, and it was gross and slimy and like all over the shower, all over the floor, and they had bags of trash. That
guy. Do
you remember that guy?
That's true. Yeah, I had to block that guy. He was bad.
Maybe it's the same guy. He was a food critic also.
Yeah. Well, when I read this story, I actually counted my blessings because this happened in Salina?
Salina,
Salina.
like up in near Dallas, right where my daughter lives.
Oh, yeah, okay, so, all right. This group of people, 7 people, booked this large mansion up there in Salina, and for 7 people, and 800 teenagers showed up for a party, and I guess it was a revenue generating thing. These 7 guys got together, and I guess they charged for tickets or
it sounds like a movie.
It does.
Like a rom-com movie.
Yeah. Well, and it didn't end up being a comedy because these 800 people, they took furniture, they took wall fixtures, they damaged the kitchen island. They moved a lot of the furniture and fixtures from inside the house into the garage so they could have like a big mosh pit in the middle of the house. And at some point in the night, gunshots were reported, and the police showed up, and there were armed guys standing out in front of the house saying that somebody was shooting inside. The 2 people were arrested. One of them was arrested for assault, and one of them was arrested for DUI. But when the police officers showed up, they said it was complete chaos. But there you go. Video shows chaotic party of 800 at Salina short-term
Who
rental.
knows 800 teenagers? That's crazy.
I'm sure they put it out on TikTok or something, and big party coming, kegs, and
would the neighbors not complain about
well,
this?
Well, they did, but when the police showed up, there were gunshots, and then I guess they quickly cleared everybody out, but the house is really damaged.
I would beat my kids senseless.
Yeah. Well,
is that the owner, or is that the house?
Yeah, that's the house right there. The thing, when you have your properties on AirBNB, they give you this insurance coverage. I would love a follow-up on this about what did AirBNB actually pay for. I mean, look at that. This beautiful mansion, and it's just trash. There's broken things everywhere. Shutters are broken. All the decorations are on the floor. Looks like somebody threw trash cans through the door.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah.
You know what a contradiction to the guest we had earlier on.
Oh, I know. Yeah, she's just a little older than a teenager, but super respectful. She would never be caught doing something like that.
I would snatch my kid. I would scalp him.
Yeah, if the police said, "Hey, we've got your kid's over there causing damage," you'd be like, "I don't need you to go. I'm going to go take care of that myself."
You stay, and they would say, "You know what,
Mrs.
Mrs. Lewis?
You'd be protecting him from me."
Mama Lewis, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'll sit right here.
That's right. That's right.
They'd have to protect them for sure.
Yeah.
So did you know that there is something, it's not really a contest, I guess, but there is a, for lack of a better word, a contest of, you can be the Texan of the Year.
Oh.
And Robert Earl Keene this year was named Texan of the Year by the Texas Legislative Conference. And he was named for this for the flood relief efforts through the benefit concert for the Guadalupe flood.
Yeah.
He's actually a Kerrville resident, so he lives in the area. But Robert Earl Keene, I saw him over Christmas. He's just amazing. His like Texas twang, folk kind of rock music. He's had over 20 albums, over 4 decades.
Wow.
The song that you may know him from, Steve, is "The Road Goes On Forever," and then we yell,
yeah.
"And the party never ends."
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of stuff. And he's still on tour at 70 years of age.
Do you think that's a current picture of him?
No, it's not, because I saw him in December.
He doesn't look like that.
No, but past winners are George Strait, Lady Bird Johnson, but Robert Earl Keene and friends, they performed at, this is why I thought this story was really interesting, because she, Kylie worked at Whitewater Amphitheater.
Oh, okay.
That's where this was. It was a sold-out concert. Miranda Lambert, Tyler Childers, and CCR.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they were there. It raised $3.2 million. He said in a quote, Texas, and I love this quote. Oh, God, I just loved it. I got goosebumps when I read it. Texas is as much a part of me as my hands or my feet or the way I walk or the way I talk.
Wow.
He's a Houston native. He's a Texas Heritage Songwriters Hall of Fame, a Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. But here's a little quirky tidbit about him. He lived with Lyle Lovett in college.
Oh, really?
At Texas A&M. And you know who Lyle Lovett is, which is most people that don't know country music will say, oh, that's Julia Roberts' weird-looking ex-husband. But also that he has another persona. He's actually a very well-known singer. But he recently performed at the San Antonio Rodeo and the Grand Ole Opry debut in 2025, where Tyler Childers actually introduced him.
Oh.
But Robert Earl Keen, he's just he's almost like the Walt Whitman of our generation.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I knew about him as soon as I moved to Texas.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've been hearing about him for a long time. I don't know all his songs, but yeah, I mean, I know the name. It's a true Texas name. What do you think we'd have to do to become the Texans of the Year for that with Mallet and Michelle?
Well, first
Probably have more than 3 people vote for it?
You aren't an official Texan.
Oh,
You're an
damn,
unofficial
I am
Texan.
disqualified.
Yeah, you're disqualified.
That's true.
So
And I can't ride your coattails?
No, because nope, it would be all mine, and I would walk around proudly with my whatever. What do you get? Do you get a crown? Do you get a scepter? Is it just bragging
Probably
rights?
Boots. Some
Maybe
fancy
boots. I would like a sash. I would like a sash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Could I? You know what I would really want? And I've asked Anthony Hippolito for this, our good sheriff. Well, actually, I went through his wife, Peggy. I don't know how I'm going to get this. I would like a siren on top of my car. It doesn't have to be red and blue or white.
Okay.
It's pink. You know,
a pink siren.
Just woo woo. Just when you know I'm coming through.
Oh, now I know what to get you for Christmas. A
Yeah.
pink siren
I would
for your
just like
car. I'm
pop
not
it.
sure that's legal, but I'm going to get you one anyway.
Yep. Thank you very much. I would
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's been a talk about, this is starting to affect Texas too, where governments in our states are in cities which, if they don't lean blue, they are solidly blue Democrat cities. And the rural areas are all conservative, small government, generally Republican areas. And what's happening is, you know, you get out a little further up in the Panhandle and some of these places away from, like in Texas, away from Houston and Dallas and Austin, and those people believe completely differently than somebody that lives in downtown Dallas or downtown Austin. And this is happening in New Mexico right now. The Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows has ordered a study from the Select Committee on Governmental Oversight to study the feasibility of adding one or more New Mexico counties along the state line of Texas to Texas, actually annexing them into Texas. And here's the reason. The New Mexico legislature is in Santa Fe. Santa Fe is as blue as you can get.
You know, when you said that, it's Insanity Fe.
Insanity Fe. But in there's a county right on the Texas border. It's kind of over by Carlsbad Caverns, a little bit east of
the
there.
Train station.
The train station, yeah. So southeast of Roswell, it's called Lee County, and the main engine of the economy in Lee County is oil and gas.
Yeah.
Well, the legislature in Santa Fe hates oil and gas. They would love it if everybody on the planet had a windmill in their backyard and never used a drop of oil again.
But oil is used to run
everything.
windmills.
Oh, everything. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so the people of Lee County are not happy with the New Mexico legislature, and they've actually been like, yeah, we might consider talking about
really?
that. Yeah.
Oh.
But the legislature in Santa Fe has pretty much said they've dismissed the idea as unrealistic, saying the state has no intention of losing authorities. And they actually made fun of Dustin Burrows for even bringing it up.
I'm wondering what that process even looks like. I mean, if everybody votes in that area, or does it have to come from
I think
the state?
the legislature would have to agree. It's probably a PR stunt when you get down to it.
Yeah.
And it's pointing out that there are rural areas in certain states, and it would be Colorado's a good example.
Yeah.
You get outside of Denver and Colorado Springs, they're all red. They're all Republican, small government, conservative.
It's like Northern California.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Well, a lot of the states are like that, and they don't have any say in how their lives are run from the legislature. They can disagree all they want.
And they love their state. They love, but at the same time, they're destroying their livelihood.
That's exactly right. Yeah. If you grew up in the oil and gas business and you live in Lee County in New Mexico, and everything that comes from the legislature is trying to put you out of business, you're going to get a little bitter.
Yeah.
And and then if Texas comes along and says, hey, this is a Texas legislature over here. We love oil and gas. We want you guys to succeed. We want you to pump all the oil and gas out of the ground that you can. You would go, damn, it would be kind of nice to be part of Texas.
Well, if the television show Landman picks this up, because what I've learned mostly about cattle and raising cattle and the state of Montana is from Taylor Sheridan.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you that maybe if they could do the same thing with oil and gas with Landman,
you never know. You never know. Maybe Tommy will lead the charge to get part of New Mexico.
Who knows? Who knows? I actually feel for people like that, where you just have kind of a collective ideology where it's kind of misguided a little bit.
There are some legislatures that have almost no representation for people that have a small government point of view.
Yeah.
And that's disheartening. And so, you don't want to leave your hometown. You don't want to leave where your business is located.
Where your family's buried.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Think
where
about
you own land, and you've built your maybe couple of generations have lived there, and you go, man, I really don't want to leave. But God, the state of New Mexico where I'm living is killing me.
It's all on stolen land anyways, right, Steve?
Stolen land. Yeah, well.
Wait, how many controversial topics can we talk about today?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't think it's going anywhere, but I thought it was a fun little story to talk about, just to raise awareness that there are people out there that are feeling a little bit pressured by some of these governments, even state, local, federal stuff that comes down, and you go, gosh, I really don't like that, but not much you can do about it.
My heart hurts for people like that. I'm a born and raised Rio Grande Valley girl, and to see during the last administration what was happening to the RGV that I just love so much, I'm starting to see this rebirth down there, and it feels good. It feels better. It feels like the RGV of what I knew. So I'm hoping that maybe these people speak up, and if they can't get annexed by Texas, start running for office.
Yeah.
Start making changes.
Start trying to change. Yeah. I guess that's what you need to do. And it's a long game. It's not a short-term game. It's you have to get involved and stay committed.
And you also have to put your armor of God up, your shield. I heard something very interesting. Like, it's kind of on topic, but a little off topic. Senator Fetterman. He came out and said that he was offered $10 million from Oprah Winfrey to vote a certain way, and he said no. He said no. I had this opinion of this guy, when he first came on, and but you know what? My opinion has really, really changed about him. And he stood his convictions.
He had a stroke, and then he came back, and there was a lot of memes and videos making fun of him, and I thought, gosh, that guy, he needs to get out of politics. But he's recovered completely. He's probably one of the most common sense Democrats in Congress right now.
So he has stood his ground and said, nope, I'm not doing that. So good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And I think he's not afraid to speak his mind. And man, that's kind of scary actually. That's just a full-on bribe. I mean, and I know it happens in politics, but geez,
that's yucky.
It's yucky.
That's yucky.
Yeah,
that's yucky.
You don't do what you think is best for the people that you represent. You do what puts the most money in your pocket. And I know that's been happening for 250
$10 million, maybe $11 million, but $10 million, come on.
And a pink siren.
And a pink siren.
Or pink, what do you call it? Pink,
woo-woo.
Yeah, pink woo-woo on the top of your car.
And the helicopter.
And the helicopter. So. Well, that's all we got this week. We really enjoyed visiting with Kylie Zschiesche, and we will